Hey everyone, this is Omar Manning, wide receiver at the University of Nebraska, and you are listening to FLOGcast Network.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Yes, to the FLOGcast Network. Jay Ruff in the house today. Glorious Friday. Glorious Friday morning here today on the FLOGcast. I am joined by the three-time champion in Skinley McKinley. How's it going, Skin? Wrong button.
Oh,
Wrong button. Oops.
I didn't deserve
That
that.
wasn't. I meant to push that button. That was on me. It felt right.
Yeah, well,
It
it's
felt
good.
right.
It's Friday.
So,
I got the day
Skin,
off.
I mean, a lot to go over today. But first, I have to get your word on your feelings, if you will, on how you feel what happened last week. Please give me anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a good look.
Mm,
It's
mm.
not a good look for the NFL. It's not a
Oh,
good
I'm
look.
sorry. Last week I mean defeating you. That's what I meant.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. We were two different pages. I'm
yeah.
still remembering what happened last week, and you've moved on. That's
I've
fine.
I've moved
Uh,
on. That's kind of
yeah.
erased from my brain.
Oh
So
well, I'm bringing it back up, baby.
yeah.
Bringing
Well,
it that bad
hey,
boy back up. I
blind
defeated you.
squirrel.
No big deal.
A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a
We
while.
sure
So
do. We
congrats on
find that.
finding your
We
nut.
find that nut and we just run, baby. Let's go.
Oh man, you had a good week. You know,
Thank you.
Justin Jefferson has completely disappeared from fantasy
Mm-hmm.
lineups the last
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks.
I
So
predicted that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, what more do you want? My quarterbacks did what they do, and I still couldn't get a win. So
I
you
want
know,
you to tell me that I am better in fantasy football than you. That's all I want, Skin, out of this combo. Okay.
hold on.
Okay, there they are. Yep,
What
I was.
do you have?
Yep,
Do you
there
have
they
this?
are. I purchased some of those bad boys. Bring the other one out. Let's go.
Do
Okay,
you have this?
there it is. I
Have
don't.
have you ever had this? Wait,
I've
I
never
don't
touched that before.
I don't see your name on here, so I'm not gonna say
Good
your
for you, Skin.
profile.
Touche. All right, lots to talk about. Last night, big game last night with the Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals, of course, won 27-15. But the key theme here, Skin, as you know, was the injury to Tua. Not a good one. Not a good one at all. It was, it's depressing. It's sad for the individual, for this kid. High talent, and then back-to-back weeks, Skin, going through this, and is scary moment here. When that happens, certain things like that happens. It's you put that aside, football aside, and you just really think about the individual. But very sad thing on here. What's your intake there?
Yeah, I mean, we're here to talk about fantasy football, right?
Mm-hmm.
But man, this is a game. Like, we're playing a game. They're playing a game. Yeah, they get paid lots of money to play that game, but they're human beings first and foremost, man. And that's honestly the downside that I have about fantasy football is a lot of people who play this treat those people like they aren't even human beings, right? They are just cogs in the machine. And I have a very strong opinion on how I felt that the Dolphins and the NFL handled this situation, and it honestly could not have been worse. Like, we how old were we when that movie Concussion came out? I mean, it's been over 10 years ago when we have started to learn about the side effects of concussions, the long-term effects of CTE. So it just kind of blows my mind that the NFL in 2022 and the Dolphins let this happen. Um, and I'm not trying to place a blame on Tua, but he's a competitor. He may have stretched the truth when he first got injured to try to get back in the game. That's what players do. That's what they are. That's what they do. They are
Competitors.
entirely
Yeah.
competitors. They want to play
Mm-hmm.
this game. And so whether or not, he said, "Oh, it was my back that caused me to do that," it's the NFL's duty and the independent neurologist's duty to to determine that that is not the case. And so if we have that first clip of Tua's hit last week, he clearly hits the back of his head on the turf. And then he clearly grabs up at his helmet, he shakes his head, and then he stumbles. Okay. Per the NFL protocol, that is an automatic no-go. No return to the game. He should never have stepped foot back on that field last week. And it's coming from someone who's had back spasms. That's not how you react to back spasms. You do not stumble like that from back spasms. So there's only a handful of people in this entire world who actually believe that Tua had a back injury and back spasms. And it's the Dolphins head coach and it's the independent neurologist there. Nobody else believes that he had a back injury last week. So the fact that he supposedly, and what I believe to have a concussion last week, per NFL protocol as well, he would not have been able to be cleared to play Thursday night. They need 5 days at minimum. That was 4 days. So he's in there with concussive symptoms from 4 days ago. The hit from last night wasn't brutal, but he did hit the back of his head again on the turf. And we all saw the images of what happened. The fencing response of his arms and forearms locking up due to the neurons in his brain going essentially haywire and sending a bunch of signals and being out of whack. And, you can't speculate any further than that because I'm not a medical doctor. But to me, they put a game over a kid's life at that point. And it honestly, nothing grinds my gears more than that. Like it was sad to watch. I hope there are punishments for these decisions and whoever made these decisions. Because it's not right the way that Tua was handled medically, and the NFL needs to answer for this.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Before Skin, we'll dig more into this. We'll dig more into the game. We do have a chat on YouTube. So I'm just going to ask you, Skin. Damo says, should he trade Josh Jacobs' Skin for Brees Hall and Juju? Full PPR. He already has Dalvin, Cook, and he's already got Harris. Those are his running backs. So should he trade Josh Jacobs for Brees Hall and Juju? What do you think?
I mean, I'm assuming this is a total redraft league, so no keeper league. Brees Hall's value obviously is a little bit higher in keeper leagues and for leagues for the future.
I think it also depends on his wide receivers.
It also depends on your wide receivers as well.
Because Juju is not a one that I would want to take off my shirt for swinging around.
No, exactly. I don't see Juju being in a starting lineup really. So essentially what you're doing is Josh Jacobs for Brees Hall. And in our league, yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat because of the future potential of Brees Hall. But in a redraft league, I probably would not do that. Josh Jacobs is still getting the workload. And, he battled it out last week in Tennessee after being sick all week long, and they still gave him the workload. So I would probably hold on to Josh Jacobs. I mean, if there was a different receiver in there that kind of made it a little bit more enticing, then yes. But Juju, I just don't. He's too inconsistent to be in starting lineups unless your receivers are just really bad, which those running backs are good, so they might be really bad.
So his receivers, Keenan Allen and Mike Evans with Gabe Davis and Tyler Lockett there.
Yeah, honestly, no reason for me. I think once Keenan Allen gets healthy, I don't necessarily see the need for Juju. I don't trust him enough.
Because again, pretty much what he's doing.
Yeah.
Brees Hall for Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I would keep.
I would keep Josh Jacobs with those two, Dalvin Cook and Harris. Yes, please. Josh Jacobs as a flex. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty good lineup. You throw Keenan Allen there, Mike Evans, Gabe Davis and Tyler Lockett. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty solid crew, don't you think, Skin? So
Yeah, I
I think
don't think
you,
he's in any position where he needs to make a move. So,
yeah,
people need to come to him, and he needs to dictate the terms and get something a little bit better. Um,
yeah.
Personally, is what I think.
But again, Skin, like you said, if this is a keeper league or dynasty thing, maybe you request a keeper out of there, or I'm sorry, a draft pick, included with Brees Hall and Juju. But again, Brees Hall has more future than Josh Jacobs. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, hey, appreciate that, Damo. Thanks a lot, man. Um, okay, I love this channel. Hey, we appreciate that. The Hobbit, I like that name. Look at you. I love it. Okay. Hey, we're live. We're live here. You're witnessing us. Appreciate you jumping on with us. We're going to continue to jump on with this game last night. Skin, you addressed the Tua issue. Teddy Bridgewater came in, though. Didn't do fantastic, but didn't do awful. He did throw an interception there, but he did throw one to, I do believe it was with a touchdown, Chase Edmonds. He maybe possible if you had Chase Edmonds in your roster, he possibly helped you out a little bit. Didn't do much besides that, but did get Tyreek Hill involved a lot after Tua fell out. But Jalen Waddle, I don't know. Heck, once you see your buddy falling down like that, shaking up like that in Tua, you get out your flow sometimes. Especially, I mean, they've been playing for a while, and that could affected him. He was targeted 5 times, 2 catches for 39 yards. So you're going up against Skin. You're going up against someone who had Jalen Waddle, and he didn't do well. But I think what Tyreek Hill did, obviously, but Jalen Waddle, no. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, that game out of Jalen Waddle, that definitely good for me. Um, I think a lot of it too, man. That game I think is just one of those that you can kind of wash away because the Dolphins weren't mentally into it. Oh boy, weren't mentally into it after everything happened with Tua. So it's one of those things where I kind of find it as like a fluky game in terms of statistical performances.
There's that
Uh,
word, fluky. Man,
yeah.
highly used.
Sorry, Blunt's got it. Yeah, but it's one of those things. So I'm not going to read much into Waddle's bad game, but again, Teddy Bridgewater obviously wasn't relying on him and feeding him the ball a ton, but it just looked like kind of Miami was a little bit flat in the second half, and understandable, So good for me. I'm glad that Jalen Waddle did not go off and go nuts like he should normally, but Tyreek Hill looked good, looked fast as ever. So yeah, one of those things. It'll be interesting to see moving forward because I'm assuming Tua is going to be out at least a week or two. But again, you can't speculate on any of that.
Mm-hmm.
How Teddy Bridgewater fits in with that offense.
Raheem Mostert, majority of the running last night for the Dolphins. Ran the ball 15 times for 69 yards. 30-year-old out of Purdue. I wouldn't bite the bait on this though. Again, because Chase Edmonds was not involved. Only ran it 5 times. But I mean, he didn't look bad at times. But again, offensively, it was Tyreek Hill, 10 catches, 160 yards targeted, 14 times. Yes, sir. Good night for Tyreek Hill. For both quarterbacks, he was doing good. For the Cincinnati Bengals, moving to 2-2, and also giving Dolphins their first loss. Joe Burrow, 20 for 31, 2 touchdowns, 287 points. I do believe in our league. Oh yeah, that's because we got kept by the Savage Patch Kids. So I can give TC 22.0 fantasy points and half PPR. Not a bad night for Mr. Joe Burrow. Heck, Skin. T. Higgins. T. Higgins, 9 targets, 7 catches for 124 yards. Kind of blew out freaking. Well, we kind of forgot about Jamar Chase for a little bit at one little tiny point, which is weird to say. But T. Higgins, we kind of already knew that T. Higgins was going to get there. In that game, he definitely showed his skin. He definitely showed to be because heck, he was kept last year. Was he kept? Yeah. Skin. I mean, TC kept him right.
Last year. Yeah,
Or did he draft
yeah,
him? Yeah.
yeah.
So
This year, yeah,
yeah, he's kept, but he wasn't really skin in the keeper category. You know what I'm saying? He was just kept because TC was struggling to keep some keepers.
yeah,
But T. Higgins now, yes, sir. Especially if he keeps doing nice like that.
yeah. And Richard Sherman kind of said it very well on the post game, whatever post game talk show, I guess is what it is. But
Sure.
he said people don't understand. Like T. Higgins is a number one wide receiver. Like
Mhm.
on most teams, T. Higgins would be a number one just because they have Jamar Chase, and he's technically the number two. But I can't disagree with him, and I'll admit I was one that was a little bit lower on T. Higgins coming into this season just because of how much of an alpha in the chemistry that Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow had together. So I kind of brushed T. Higgins off to the side, like, a little bit later, not worth keeper status, but I definitely he's young, up and coming, big, long guy. So man, he's a good player, and the fact that he caught that touchdown over Dolphins' number one corner Xavier Howard
Mhm.
is no scrub.
No.
It was good coverage. He just tripped just there a little bit that got him that space, but yeah, no, it was T Higgins, good player for sure.
T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, absolutely. I mean, they throw it enough. In they're both of these guys are heavily involved in this offense to make sure that they get the numbers, especially in fantasy. Starters, hands down. Joe Mixon, hands down starter, and Joe Burrow. I think those four guys right there should be starting in your leagues. Even though heck, Joe Burrow's been throwing some interceptions, we know what he is. We know
Yeah,
what he can do. Very good quarterback in Cincinnati there. He had a good night last night of those four there. But also, here's another one to possibly monitor skin. Then we'll move on. Hayden Hurst, even though he only caught it for 3 times, 4 targets, 27 yards, 1 touchdown there. I mean, he looked good. Anything to get excited about here?
no, I mean it's a tight end position though. So if you don't have one of those top guys, then
Right.
you
Yeah.
might be going week in, week out trying to just find a nut, just trying to find the streamer, the best matchup, and hoping they get a touchdown. So
Mm-hmm.
of course Hayden Hurst is on that short list because of their offense. And it seems like their offensive line started to protect Joe Burrow so much better last night. They were on fire. Like he did not. I didn't really see many pressures at all, or Joe Burrow gets sacked many times. So their offensive line seems like they're starting to get the chemistry down, get the continuity down. So, but
Mm-hmm.
also the Dolphins' offense seemed to run the ball quite a bit more last night too
They
than what
did.
I normally see.
They did.
But you know, I love me some Cool Joe. He's a cool kid, and he's gonna stay even keel all the time.
He's a cool kid, man.
He is.
Well,
He lives up to his Cool Joe name, that's for sure.
all right. All right. Thanks for that, Skin. Do you have anything else to say about this game? We can move on.
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, it was
Okay.
kind of boring, so
That was kind of boring.
I
Okay.
mean, I just my brain was kind of out of it after the Tua stuff.
That's understandable. Let's move on to the matchup. Skin again. Skinley McKinley report going over all the cues and injuries and players missing some time and stuff like that, or missing some games. We already this morning. Skin, one of your boys, dropping out. He's out for this Sunday. We're going to talk about those, of course. Skin, we're gonna start with your matchup. Um, Tennessee Titans versus Magic Skull Bus. Let's start with your team. What do you think on who's on the queue list here?
Yeah, obviously the big one is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He injured his ankle last week, went to the medical tent, ended up coming back in and finishing the game and had a few catches, but sounds like to me they're gonna be cautious with it. They did rule him out this week. So I guess if DJ Shark, his stock may have rose a little bit. I don't know Josh Reynolds if you want a little flyer there, but
I don't. I'm staying away from Detroit Lions this week.
Yeah, no, I would
Lamb.
agree. I would agree if you're just in a pinch, those guys are at least going to see the field. But yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's a big hit for a lot of people because he's had a hell of a start to the year.
Absolutely.
Outside of that, I've got Michael Gallup down there, still waiting for him to make his NFL debut or his season debut, I guess I should say. Full practice on Thursday, so it sounds like he's going to make his debut on Sunday, which will be good to see him out there running routes again, kind of see how that looks. But again, don't put him in your lineup right away. He may be on a snap count. He's got some recovering to do. So
He was 46% rostered on ESPN. That's. I mean, that kind of makes sense. But again, approaching year 5 for Michael Gallup, drafted in 2018. So again, like you said, Skin. It's you got to see what he does when he first starts to play. Absolutely.
yeah, and I mean they lost Amari Cooper. That's a lot of targets there. So
Hmm.
that offense still has some openings. I know Noah Brown has started off the season pretty well, but I just think Gallup is going to slide right into that number 2 spot. And really, with the way CD Lamb has been playing, man, it might be a 1A, 1B type situation. But again, you got to give Gallup some time to come back from that ACL tear and get up to speed. If he has a few bad games, if you still have bench spot, keep him on there and be patient with him. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Hmm.
Last guy I have that's questionable, it still has not made his season debut either, is Rondale Moore with a hamstring injury. He was limited participant on Thursday. Friday's report will tell us a little bit more, but Cliff Kingsbury did say he expects him to make his debut week 4 or week 5. So it's coming. It's coming close. And, Arizona needs some wide receiver help. AJ Green out, Hopkins suspended. Who's the one kid they have? Dorp.
Greg Duckledge, or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he's
I
been
like
doing
him.
well too. So, but I think Rondell Moore, will fit well with that speed there. So, hope to see him back on the field soon.
Skin, you only got 3 guys. 3 guys with a big old Q and an O on. I think that might be the record. Heck.
No, I think there's one more team that has less. Yours, I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's move to the
you have
Magic.
nobody.
Huh?
You have nobody besides Velas.
Oh, well, heck. I mean, I'm not surprised there. I mean, come on. Come on. You sprinkle some dust on them, man. You pray at night. It works, Skin.
You must have
It
been playing
works.
pretty hard
Heck,
last week.
man. I had to beat you. Heck, that's the key.
Yep.
Plus, talent. That's what it takes to
Yeah.
beat you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We'll
Freaking
call it talent.
skinny humans. All right, moving on to Magic Skull Bus. Who's missing some time here?
Yeah, looks like he's still got Gabe Davis questionable. This one doesn't sound great. I think he logged a practice on Wednesday, and then he sounds like he may have had a little bit of a setback or a little bit of a tweak, I guess is what they said. So he did not practice on Thursday. So I guess with this one, all you got to do is sit and wait. See what he logs on Friday's practice. I'm assuming he's going to be questionable going into Sunday. Just depends on how he responds to treatment,
You're
whether or not he can get out there. So
you're in a pinch, Skin. You gotta have Gabe Davis. They say that yes, he's playing. Okay, do you start him?
they are playing the Baltimore Ravens, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Then
Yes,
yeah,
at Baltimore
yeah, it's a great
Buffalo.
matchup. I believe Baltimore Ravens, at least in our league, have given up the most fantasy points to wide receivers, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would play him.
I think
If he's
you
good to
have
go,
to.
you get thumbs up. I would put him in at least your flex.
Yeah, with that offense, I mean, there's always a good chance, and he dropped a touchdown last week. So, but yeah,
He
I think
did.
if he's cleared, then you gotta throw him in there.
Okay. Cool.
Keegan has T.J. Hawkinson. Meh, he's not gonna play him. He's got Mark Andrews, so it doesn't really matter for him. He was limited Thursday, still dealing with a foot injury, but with all the injuries to DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe TJ Hawkinson sees a little bit of an uptick in targets. That's my only 2 cents if he does play. But outside of that, if you don't need him, don't play him. So
Mm,
he's been a disappointment this year.
he has. Of course, I mean, like we've mentioned, tight ends, a little wishy-washy, but I mean, he's talent-wise, he's very good. Right now, he's sitting peacefully 13th, in the tight end category, which doesn't seem right for TJ. But heck, I've always been a TJ Hugginson fan, since he was drafted in 2019. But this so far a little slow start. Um, I mean, 2020, he really exploded. I thought he kind
Yeah,
of moved into what we were expected.
yeah,
First round, a top 10 draft pick to be. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
Now
and
he's kind of
well,
falling down the mountain here.
and honestly, for me, I think that offense is like going through its transformations, right? They
Hmm.
didn't have a wide receiver guy outside that they felt super
Right.
comfortable with. So TJ Hawkinson had to be the man. But
Well,
they've
heck,
got
I mean, now Brown is out.
yeah,
So,
right.
so if
Brown's out.
he,
Exactly. So, it's one of those things he may see some targets this week for sure. But
hmm okay.
outside of that, the one that Keegan, is probably waiting on the most is his quarterback, Dak Prescott. Um, sounds like he's definitely out this Sunday. But he handled some snaps and had some light throws, but he is still dealing with some swelling in that thumb and hand here. So I think they're shooting for a possible week 5 return. So Keegan could get him back next week if all goes well. I think that's the best case scenario.
I mean, then he doesn't have to trust in Jared Goff, who's
Yeah.
been decent,
Yeah.
surprising. All right, Skin, we'll move on to the next matchup. The probably the most important matchup, myself included, the LeBron Kings going up against Scotty Benzine's team. Heck, you want to start with mine? Boom, we're done. There it is.
Well,
Actually, no, Velus Jones Jr. We
we
got
do
to talk
have
about
one.
him.
We do have
Yep.
one. Yeah, it looked like Velas Jones was gonna make his NFL debut last
Yeah,
week,
what the
but
heck, man? I just want to
um,
see him play football. The
yeah, I mean,
preseason didn't do me. It didn't get me going. And I
honestly,
want to see him in an NFL game. That's all I want.
he's probably gonna start off on special teams, but I don't know. Connor's hyped him up so much that I think you expect him to.
I know he's put the Connor Lindback, juju on him, the
Oh yeah, I
curse.
know. I
Heck, I'm
mean,
like, gosh
I think
dang
I
it.
saw Connor on Twitter saying that Velas will unlock the Chicago offense.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh gosh.
Oh man,
It's one of
he's
those.
got he's got a ways to go for that. Justin Fields is the only person who can do that, and that's not looking so good so
Not
far.
looking good. Not looking
Yeah,
good.
but yeah, Velas Jones 4 straight limited practices, which is good, trending in the right direction. Again, I would expect him to make his debut this week, but obviously something was going on there, so we'll see.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, we're
don't
done.
should I tell you this? You don't start him. If you need that advice, don't start
Hey,
him.
I'm not Connor Lindback. Heck, heck, if I had Connor's brain, I would probably have him in my lineup right
Hmm.
now.
Right.
Second flex option.
Yep.
But gotta see him. Gotta see him. Gotta see him at least play once. All right, Scotty Benzine's team. Of course, we talked about Tua. Not a good situation there. Played, 2.4 fantasy points in our league. Could miss some time. We'll see. Um, who else has he got there? Alan Lazard.
Yeah, Alan Lazard. So I'm going to kind of group a couple of his guys together because I think they're very similar in terms of their timeline. Alan Lazard and Jacoby Myers, both, Alan Lazard's dealing with an ankle, Jacoby Myers dealing with a knee. Both were limited on Thursday. Um, so again, got to wait for the Friday practices and the practice report to see if either of them logs a full practice, then they should be good to go. If they stay limited, they're going to go into Sunday with questionable game tags. So those two, he's just going to have to wait and see. From what I hear, is that Jacoby Myers is like pushing to try to play, and so sounds like that one is a little more encouraging. But again, that's a sit and wait and see option there.
Mm-hmm.
So the tough one for him, Mike Thomas, has had a great start to the season. The Saints right now are beat up a little bit. Sounds like Jameis Winston is doubtful. Michael Thomas is out with a foot injury.
Mm.
So Chris Olave, his stock is rising. Jarvis Landry, his stock has maybe ticked up a few notches there.
Mhm.
But then again, maybe they went back to sea level because Andy Dalton's going to be throwing him the ball. So
Yeah.
tough
Yeah, I
one.
mean that's what I thought because once I saw Michael Thomas went out. I mean, I have a couple of shares of Michael Thomas, but then I thought and then Jarvis Landry is available in a lot of those leagues. And I'm just like, Andy Dalton. I mean, I don't have enough confidence in him to push anybody else aside in my flex option. That's where he would go. They're like, nah, I'm gonna stay away from that headache.
Yeah.
And that's what it will be
Yeah.
probably.
It
You know,
definitely will be, but if you like with TC with his team, he's probably got to start Olave no matter what, right? So
absolutely,
um,
yeah.
if you're in that position, Olave is a guy that can be started, and just because his target share, and it's got to be in the lineup for
This is
TC.
TC's team though. He should be starting regardless.
Yeah,
I mean, heck, I should be considered starting on TC's team.
yeah, pretty
I
much.
mean, heck, that's how bad it is.
Yep.
So Chris Olave, hands down on his roster, starter.
Yeah, absolutely. So outside of that, that's a pretty. You guys both have like pretty healthy teams. Well, I mean, Benzing not as much now with Tua going down.
Mm.
Just unsure of where that situation is going, um, but yeah. So not a whole lot to report on that one.
Okay, next matchup: Savage Patch Kids, TC's team, taking a good little jog past Connor Lindback's team so far
Yeah,
after last night's game. He had Joe Burrow, he had T. Higgins, both scoring over 20 points. Good start for TC there, 43.9. And Connor Lindback had 20.9 with
yeah,
Tyreek Hill.
yeah.
So I mean, heck, that's pretty good for Connor,
Kind of,
even though he saw two other guys,
yeah.
scoring over 20. At least he has Hill.
It kind of evens out, right? I
Yeah.
mean, neither guy can be like super excited that they had a great start because their matchup also had a great start. So um, I think that's pretty even start. Kind of keeps things right in line with where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll all come down to Sunday and Monday. But um, so with those two teams here, we've got Connor's team. Let's start with the Brownie Batter team here.
Mm. Mm.
Um, as we probably know in what we saw last week, David Montgomery got hurt and Khalil Herbert absolutely went nuts. And it sounds like that David Montgomery will also be out. He did not practice Thursday. Sounds like he's going to be out on Sunday. So Khalil Herbert, if you do or daily fantasy, Khalil Herbert's a good play,
Mm-hmm.
this week as well. So um, yeah, he's going to get a lot of touches. So it's just a bad offense. He's got David Njoku as well. Um, he missed practice on Thursday, but they described it as a rest day. So
Well, heck, he balled out last week. So
yeah,
heck, last two. I mean, his first 2 weeks, he was sleeping.
yep,
This week or last week, he woke up. They're like, hey, rest.
right. We need you.
Rest.
Yeah.
You
So I
need to
mean
ball out, man.
that's one where Connor should monitor, but it sounds like he should be good to go on Sunday. So no worries there. I guess I haven't seen whether he's in the lineup or not. No, he's got Pitts, so he'll be sitting peacefully on that bench. But Hunter Renfro, man, he's been dealing with a concussion since
Mm.
week 1.
Yeah,
This is how a concussion should be handled.
that's how it
Obviously,
should be handled.
the symptoms exhibit in a lot of different ways, but everybody recovers in a different pace. But yeah, you're seeing how a concussion should be handled. So Dolphins should take note of this. Um, Dicks.
You wanna tweet them that?
Yeah, I might. I mean, I wasn't alone with the mean tweets, but
Heck, Hunter Renfro looks like he should be in our fantasy league. Just a normal dude, just
yep,
chilling with us.
yep.
I mean, we can invite him.
We
He might
should.
bite the bait.
He
Heck.
might want to do an intro. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, I can
but
imagine.
yeah, I mean, I want Hunter Renfro to get back. One, because obviously I like his game. He's so like he's very shifty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fun to watch him do well. And the Raiders obviously need some help. they need some help. They're 0-3. Mac Hollins played well last week, but he was also going up against a scrub corner that has been on the Titans roster for 3 days. So, but that's how that's going to go. So yeah,
That's gonna
not looking
go.
good for Sunday for Hunter Renfro, but yeah, we'll just with concussions, you just never know.
Okay, TC's team. Did we finish the Browns
Julio
team?
Jones was the last
Oh, sorry.
one.
Yep.
Partial PCL tear. Sounds like he's going to try to play this week, so he's going to be dealing with that the rest of the season. So good luck,
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Savage
Okay.
Patch Kids. Hey,
Yeah, Alvin Kamara. I mean this is big, for him, because here's the thing before we go into his injury skin. If he scores, I think I might have mentioned this. I can't remember. If he scores about 6 points again, if he scores under 10 points again, week 3, TC's in trouble because first of all, no one's going to want to trade for him. I mean, it's not looking good. All right, and he like if somebody does want to get him, it's not going to be as as a shiny penny like it once was. It's going to be a dusty, gross coin.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So if we approach that bridge, he's under 10 points. What does TC do?
yeah. I
Just
mean,
hang on to him?
knowing TC, he's just going to sell him at his lowest value. I
Mm,
mean, that's what he's been doing.
mm,
That's what
mm.
he did with McCaffrey. And so he got a haul for McCaffrey
He
still,
did.
but that was,
I
that was
In the
McCaffrey.
past I've offered a lot for
Yeah,
Alvin.
that was McCaffrey's lowest value at that point. Um, Not that it's like really, really played out super well so far for Blunt, but Alvin Kamara, I think TC is kind of almost happy to see that Jameis is going to be out this week because if he does
Ooh.
play with Andy Dalton in there, Andy Dalton's much more of a check down friendly type of quarterback. I think they're going to want to run the ball a lot more and kind of keep it out of his hands if they can, if they're not getting blown out. So if you're in TC shoes and Kamara plays, you obviously have to keep him in your lineup. And I think you got to be a little excited to have Andy Dalton rather than Jameis Winston because Winston ain't chucking that down. Or checking that down. He's chucking it. So that's just a difference in quarterback play right there. So I think that'll actually help Kamara's value.
Right, right.
But
And this is moving on to the next. Oh, we got to do his injury. Why is he
yeah,
back
I mean,
here
he's
there?
dealing with rib injuries. He's going to be questionable for Sunday going into it. So just one he's going to have to monitor.
Gotta monitor that bad boy. But I mean, heck, speaking of monitoring, I mean, like we're going through all the cues, Skin. We're going through everything that has a cue on it. So if the game didn't happen last night, we would go over T Higgins. Matters. It matters because the dude went off and he's
Yeah.
got a cue on it. So some of these games like this, T Higgins, I think the injury was minor, right? But dude went off. It was an ankle injury. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like he came out of the game pretty well. I know they mentioned that he had some soreness in his ankle after the game, but sounds like he's fine.
He's
So
fine.
then
He's
and
fine.
there's one that we missed because he didn't have a Q by his name, but Dalvin Cook, right? Like he dislocated his
Yeah.
shoulder last week, but he's already cleared. He's good to go. He's gonna put a harness on that bad boy and he's gonna play. So man, Dalvin he's tough. He's playing with injuries and dislocates his shoulder almost every year. So, but he's good to go and he'll be playing.
It's probably familiar to him, that feel. Probably
Yeah.
used to it. Heck.
Yep.
All right.
And moving on with TC's team, I mean, just a couple left here. Dalton Schultz has still been dealing with his knee injury, was limited Thursday. Again, it's just kind of a wait and see for him. And you just can't get excited about Dalton Schultz anyway. So, the one that I know TC is excited about, though,
Mm,
Brian Robinson. Looks
mm.
like there's some videos coming out about Brian Robinson increasing his workload. He's looking good in practice, recovering well from his gunshot wounds, technically a knee injury. He's out for week 4, but they're saying a possible week 5 return. So that'll be interesting to see what that backfield looks like once Brian Robinson returns.
Is this a thing though, Skin? Should he be that excited? I mean, TC gets excited if he sees a penny on the ground, especially in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, he got
I
excited about
mean,
Josh Palmer again, so
this is yeah. I mean, so I don't know because of course we mentioned it yesterday. Gibson's been playing very well. And they still got J.D. McKissick. I don't feel like Brian Robinson's going to jump in there and he'll be, fantasy relevant even, in the next couple games. I
yeah,
think
no,
this is we're getting excited too. He's getting excited too much here.
well, yeah, that's what TC does. He tries to find the breakouts before they break out, right? And he gets excited about these
I mean, this
players.
dude picked him up like when I think he still had bullets in his leg when he picked him up. I mean, heck, and he got excited about that. So,
Yeah,
I
and
don't think it's
so I think a lot of it was the training camp hype, right? Like
right.
we almost thought Brian Robinson was going to take Antonio Gibson's job. Like week
Hmm.
1, before the gunshot stuff, Brian Robinson was presumed to be the number 1 kind of on that depth chart.
Right.
So, in
I mean,
fairness to TC, he's going to want to see him on the field to at least determine his value for next year.
I mean,
Because
he's right. I mean, he's definitely. I mean, he is talented. He's from Alabama. They have good running backs, drafted in the third round. But let's see this: if he scores let's say he scores 6.7 fantasy points, TC will go nuts. Like, yes, good, great first game.
yeah.
I did it. I found him. And then boop, there it is.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
he's done this multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, again, it kind of reminds you of the Kadarius Toney type of stuff, right? Like
Absolutely,
fell in love with Tony after 2 weeks, and it's just
it's over.
it's
Yeah,
over.
but it's good seeing him coming back. It's good for that kid. Heck, getting shot, in the leg
Yeah,
multiple times and
yeah,
coming back that
absolutely.
same year. Good for him.
He's a good story. You want to type of guy you want to root for sure.
Absolutely.
I do want to make a comment here though. There
Oh boy.
should be uh I'm missing something right here, huh?
What do you
Right
what are
here,
you what are you missing?
right here
What's
on my
going?
screen. I'm missing number 3. Just a heads up. That's
Oh.
the message to our commissioner. I'm missing number 3.
He still hasn't got that to you yet.
Yep, just want to make that known, make that
Oh,
clear. I got
oh
2 sitting
boy.
right here.
Back in my day when I was when I was the vice president or whatever, vice commissioner, I bought those bad boys right away. I
I'm not.
bought those
I
two
wasn't
right
gonna.
there.
I wasn't gonna order my own ring.
Yeah, I
They
bought those
just
two.
bought it.
I have those. I bought those two for you.
Yep.
I mean, our commissioner's
I'm
sleeping.
sitting here waiting. I
Hmm.
was complaining for a while, but I'm just sitting here waiting.
Okay, that was kind of we had you had your door to talk about that when you brought those on the screen,
Yeah, I
and then
forgot,
we're in
and
the
then I was like,
middle of our injury report, and you
wait.
start talking about it. Wrong
Well,
time, skin.
still, I needed to bring it up.
Well,
I
you
had
do.
something to say. I got to get it off my chest.
Okay. Well, good for you. You feel better?
I do. I do.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. Okay, let's please move on. Let's please move on. You get one of these. 1 minute. Okay, let's move on to we got who we got left.
That's it.
Loserville. I think
We're
that's what
done.
it is. Yep. Next matchup, right? We finished talking about those guys. Next matchup, we got Terry's Terrorists against the Philadelphia Queefles, defending Toilet Bowl champion. Sucked it up last year. Awful performance. Gave up way too soon. Um, just a bad owner last year is what he was. There's a smile. I can see it. He's producer. I saw him smile. I succeeded. Let's move on to his team skin. Who's he having?
Yeah, obviously the big one is Christian McCaffrey, dealing with a thigh injury. Blunt's gonna have to have his phone near him on
Mm.
Sunday morning. He's gonna have to be waiting until they drop that last report and whether he's good to go or not. Because he's definitely gonna be questionable. Game time decision. Matt Rule said he is very hopeful, which is obviously a plus. But yeah, definitely one he's gonna have to monitor up until game time.
Here's the thing, skin. Okay, I have Christian McCaffrey. Okay, I don't in this league, but
Don't you
I
have
mean,
every player in the NFL with
I
21
think
leagues?
no, some people, some guys I don't. But I'm just like there, just imaginary. I have Christian McCaffrey. Okay, do I snag Chuba or Foreman, who are behind Christian McCaffrey? I say no. Because what I
Neither.
think is going to
Yeah.
happen, they're going to be a committee. That's what they're
Ab-
going to be. I think they're going to use Chuba, kind of in the Chris McCaffrey throwing ish, scenarios, and then they're going to use Foreman just banging them down low. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I think it was a little weird, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, here, jump in my brain here. So I think that's what's going to be a committee. I would stay away from both of
I agree. And I think Chuba is going to get the first crack,
them.
um, but yes, I would stay away from both of them.
Okay. Good.
Speaking of which, I did just get a report here.
Oh,
This is
boy.
an update on a previous player we talked about, Julio Jones. Todd Bowles just said that Julio Jones and Chris Godwin will both be game time decisions for Sunday.
Okay. Which we kind of knew, right, with Godwin at least.
Yeah.
Is have we spoke about Godwin yet?
Uh,
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about him yet.
yeah.
Which we can jump on that in a little bit. But yep, good info.
Yep. And the next one for Q, again, kind of one he's been waiting on, Keenan Allen. Again, kind of some conflicting reports here. Not sure whether to make this a big deal or not, but it sounds like he was limited on Thursday, and then he left practice with a trainer, like kind of in the open portion, so the media saw it. One of those things. He could just be walking in to go get treatment on his hamstring. You don't know, but he also could have tweaked it, and that would just be bad news. So again, another one where Quentin's going to have to keep his phone by him and just waiting to hear what was his participation level on Friday today, and he's probably going to be a game time type of decision again. So I know Q's kind of chomping at the bit to try to get Keenan back in that lineup. But then another big one for Q, which luckily he did the smart thing and drafted the handcuff of Jamal Williams. DeAndre Swift is going to be out Sunday with ankle and shoulder injuries. So again, if you're doing daily fantasy, Jamal Williams should be getting a heavy workload, and he's looked good. So I know Q is very happy to slide him right in that lineup, and honestly, Q might even be happier because he's going to have one running back there rather than having both of them because Jamal gets all the goal line work.
Right.
So
Right.
that can be a frustrating split, even though, I think DeAndre Swift is insanely talented, but yeah, that can be a frustrating backfield to decipher sometimes.
Is Q a Detroit Lions fan? He's got three of them. Jamal Williams, Swift, and he also picked up the other Williams for Detroit, the wide receivers there in Jameson. I think he likes Detroit Lions.
I think he's a bigger Lions fan than he is an Eagles fan.
Absolutely. Yeah. Heck, I'm not surprised he's going to go after, A.C. Brown skin. Jared Goff.
How many Eagles did he draft?
0.
1. Dallas Goedert. He passed right over his boy Miles Sanders.
I got good old Devontae Smith sitting peacefully in my lineup. No big deal.
He said, "Oh no, Elijah Moore is better than Devontae Smith. I'm going to take Elijah Moore instead." So
and guess how many offers I've got for Devontae Smith already? That's it.
0. Wow.
Big 0. He does not care. He has his Lions.
And he even let me draft Jalen Hurts.
It's just sickening.
MVP Hurts over here.
Fools us all about this Philadelphia Eagles crap.
Yep, he just.
Well, heck, I don't blame him. I mean, I wouldn't want to
not let his biases, get in there, but almost to a detriment.
All right, that was fun. That was enjoyable. Good laugh there. All right, let's finish this team off, Skip.
All right, Chris Godwin. Obviously, we got the update on. I hope to see him back soon. Just coming from that tweak after his ACL. So, and then MVS, Valdez Scantling, again, kind of questionable. It was limited in practice. Again, not really going to be in fantasy lineups right off the bat. My gut saying he's going to be out, but again, another one that you just have to monitor and wait to see about his level today.
I don't even understand why he's got him on his roster.
Me either,
Like,
but
why is he on his roster?
he wants to prove
He
us
has
wrong.
done nothing to like my brain.
He wants to prove us wrong. That's it.
Well, prove us wrong. Do it.
Who else you
Who
gonna
else
pick
is
up?
back? I don't know why he's on the roster.
Yep.
Good for him. Good for him.
He's sticking to his guns.
All right, is that it?
Yep.
Good.
Terry's
Good for
Terrace.
there. All right, Terry's terrorist. He's got James Conner. What do you think about James?
Yeah, I'm gonna group these two guys together. One, because I usually have both of them on my team, my fantasy team, and I like
Mhm.
them, and they're very similar in terms of their injuries or in terms of their timelines, I guess. James Conner with a knee, Melvin Gordon with a neck, both limited on Thursday. Again, you just kind of have to wait to see for Friday, but I'm anticipating that both play. Um, so yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Marcus just kind of have to sit and wait. I don't think he would start Melvin, but he would definitely start James Conner. I'm anticipating on him playing, but he's going to need confirmation before Sunday.
Mm.
Then the last one for Marcus was Zay Jones, the new pickup, the new free agent pickup. Did not practice. So this one is not great news. I mean, not that Marcus was going to start him, but practiced in full on Wednesday and then did not practice on Thursday. That's never a great sign. Sign that he got hurt in practice with an ankle. So again, I'm anticipating him maybe missing, definitely being questionable going into Sunday. So he's just going to have to monitor that as well.
Had a great week. Week 3 last week. Caught the ball 10 times. I mean, 11 targeted 11 times. I thought his first week was very good as well. Second week was kind of fluky or kind of funky because they were going up against the Colts. They didn't really need to get him involved heavily because they were just freaking pooping on him. But I mean, I do like Jones. I think he's got potential there for sure. Say.
Yeah, I agree. It's just I think it's going to be a week by week situation. I think Christian Kirk's the clear number one, and then it kind of goes down from there. So and Marvin Jones is still getting a few catches every game too. So, but yeah, I mean they signed him in the offseason. They want to make him a part of the offense. And I think Zay Jones is talented. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think
That's
that
it.
does it for the injury report.
Okay. You got anything else to talk about, Skin?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a big weekend this weekend, right? Get to
Mm.
see me some of my brothers, and Colts Titans game should be a big one for the AFC South and for both franchises, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, ready to have a few drinks with some good friends and
Mm.
enjoy the weekend.
Absolutely, absolutely, Skin. We are, rewarded for this awesome podcast. We were given, you know, sideline passes, no big deal. Or they said screw us to the Indianapolis Colts Titans game. They said screw the producer, he sucks.
Yep,
We'll get the injury guy and the head host, and
and
we're sidelined right
the
before a game.
champ, last year's champ. I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
so it's pretty much this last year's champ, and you brought a buddy.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well,
But
Skin,
no,
appreciate
that
it.
should be a good time. Being up and close, at least an hour or so before the game, kind
Yeah.
of see the players warming up and stuff. So it'll be cool to see Derrick Henry in person, to see how large of a human being
Mm,
he is next to me, who is 5'8".
mm.
So yeah, that'll be cool to see.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, hopefully he doesn't. Well, I kind of hope he bumps into me and get hurt. I was like, yes, that'd be fun. But hey, again, Skin, appreciate you coming on, sharing your wisdom, and appreciate our producer back in the back. Appreciate our questions today. We had two of them, I believe. Well, not two of them. We had one comment with the question. Appreciate you joining. Appreciate you watching. Continue to watch us. Continue to like us on Twitch, on Twitter. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to us. We're looking to, continue to share our wisdom, our funness in this league. Super fun and enjoyable, right, Skin? It's always fun to do this, make this league. Heck, if you're in a league, you like to talk as much as me, do a little podcast like this, with your fantasy football league. It does another curveball, if you will, Skin, to the
It adds
league. It makes
it
people
adds
think.
a layer for
And
sure.
it definitely does. It adds a
We
layer. So it's
Our group
definitely fun and
message
enjoyable.
our group message starts chirping away once
Mm.
they hear some opinions get thrown out there. And I'll admit, I do myself my fair share of chirping once I hear some opinions. So it just makes
Mm-hmm.
things exciting, makes things fun, and we're all in this to have fun with our friends. It's a game again. As we were brought down to earth last night. These guys are all doing this for their livelihood and to provide for their families, and it's one of those things. So just enjoy it, have fun, don't take it too serious, but take it serious enough though.
Take it. Yeah, take it serious enough. All right. Well, hey, Skid, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. You have listened to the FLOGcast Network. Everybody stay safe.
Hey everyone, this is Omar Manning, wide receiver at the University of Nebraska, and you are listening to FLOGcast Network.